How's going, guys? Welcome to the channel. In this video we are gonna see, what if Naruto reincarnated as Rimuri in Slime and Built Harem there, part 1. Huge shout out to Shokugeki for this story. If you wants to see awesome fanfiction like this, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's get into the video. They say dying is normal, natural, something that shouldn't be feared because it was inevitable. Naruto wasn't denying that. No, he wasn't scared. His death was actually very normal for his world, all things considered. Being stabbed in the back, figuratively and physically, both applied for him. It wasn't surprising either now that he thought about it, but damn those eyes, those damn cheating eyes. Only something like an apex predator should have them, but the Uchiha, in general, are just puppeteers. They would be the prey, not the predator. Confirmed. Adding unique skill, apex predator. Though he shouldn't be that bothered considering it was his naivety that got him here in the first place. Thinking he was his brother in all but blood, a bunch of lies. Emotions got in the way of seeing things right in front of him. They're unimportant in surviving. It was something he learned during the war. Yet, here he was, dying in the valley because of his inability to abandon emotions when it was most needed. He'd have to get a better hold on them next time. Confirmed. Adding unique trait, emotional control. Sucks though because his best friend Kurama is getting dragged into all of this. It wasn't his problem. Why couldn't he do one thing right? Releasing all the bijus should have been easy. But no, he had to hold back against his brother. Confirmed. Adding title, host of the QB no Yoko. Damn this headache, now I'm hearing voices in my head. It is saying something about adding details. Does this mean it's creating a new body? Perhaps it's a goddess or something reincarnating me. Now that would be cool. I hope I get something like Sage Mode, now that was badass, and something I don't want to retrain in. Confirmed. Adding extra skill, Sage Mode. Kami-sama, if you can hear me, could I stay human? I quite like looking like a regular person. Though if you do reincarnate me into some other species, make them the very bottom of the food chain, I do need a challenge after all. Confirmed. Generating body, bottom of the food chain. And just like that, the hero of the Fourth Ninja World War died. His killer, Sasuke, watched as his brother laid there still. 5 seconds passed before he was gone in the wind, going to fulfill his goal of being the world's enemy. Cave. Where am I? What am I? I can feel the general area around me, but I can't feel anything like warmth or coldness, wondered Naruto. He tried to look around, and after he couldn't find anything he began to just sit there. Normal people would have been more curious or worrisome, but he unconsciously made his emotions not be worried. About 10 minutes went by before Naruto heard 2 voices in his head. One was familiar, the other was brand new to him. They started arguing once they realized multiple people were trying to talk to him at one time in his head. Hey! This is my head, please be more courteous and talk one at a time, please. Now I remember Kurama, so you first. Stranger, please wait. He could almost imagine the smug grin Kurama was using. Good to see you alive, Naruto, but I am disappointed to see you have died to an Uchiha. If I was still my old prideful self, then I would have never helped you again for such a disgrace. Naruto could tell that he was mad about his defeat. And don't think I've forgiven you for choosing the bottom of the food chain. Being a mere slime is very degrading. Naruto could understand why Kurama was a little mad, after all being a slime? Since when was I a slime? Asked a weirdly calm Naruto. It seems to learn that jutsu in my old world was a bit of a waste unless I could use chakra in this body as well, but the more important issue at the moment is that my senses are mostly dulled. That's when he remembered the stranger's voice from earlier. It started talking once it realized Naruto remembered it. I believe I can be of assistance, slime, just use magic sense. It allows you to basically see the area around you, even without eyes. Just try to recognize the flow of the magic in the air, and you will see everything. Explained the mystery voice. And then come to me, I wish to have a conversation. And that was what was all heard from the voice before being silent. This magic seems to be oddly similar to chakra, but more spiritual, mused Kurama. Try doing what you used to with wind chakra, feel the difference in the air, and try to track what's around you. Naruto saluted to the best of his ability. Hi, Kurama-sensei, I will do you proud. It was more of a mockery, but someone passing by could tell it was good-natured. Naruto let his energy go freely, they spread out everywhere in the confined area. Suddenly there was light, and with the light came noises, and that's when Naruto was able to use his sense again. From what he could observe, he was inside some kind of a cave. Now to just find the thing that was speaking earlier. He let his magic spread out more and then felt a huge amount of energy near the end of the cave. It was weird because the magic he felt was suppressed, meaning that the thing would have even more than what he had felt. To compare, I would say with its magic suppressed, it's about as strong as a Kage. Thought Naruto as he moved towards the large number of magicules he felt. He took a quick detour to check his appearance. It was as Kurama said. He was a slime, a yellow one at that too. When he reached his destination, Naruto realized why the number of magicules was massive. There was a dragon behind some kind of barrier. It was strange because clearly something this strong must have been able to break through it, so why didn't it? You wish to speak, Dragon-sama? Naruto wasn't stupid anymore. He could see when an opponent was too strong for him, especially in his current form. This assumption made him believe that being more diplomatic with the majestic creature would be more beneficial. If I am in your territory, I will leave. I do not wish to die right after dying, said Naruto. The dragon merely stared at him for a long time. This did not bother Naruto. He used to be stared down by Tsunade and Sakura. Nothing could scare him nowadays. You're not scared of me, are you? Inquired the dragon. The dragon was very suspicious of this slime. For one, its number of magicules was nearly on par with his own, and he was a freaking dragon. In that case, young one, would you like to become my successor? You would carry my name and bring honor to it. I cannot leave this cave, so it must be up to someone else to bring pride to my name. Unless you have a way I could leave? It was a very sudden request. The dragon did not know why he was offering this deal to the slime. There was just something about the slime that told him that it would be the perfect candidate. Are you sure, Dragon-sama? I do not know your name, and surely you have a child that would be better to take over the name? It certainly made more sense to Naruto for the child of the dragon to take the name. It is how he got his last name Uzumaki from his mother. My apologies, Slime. My name is Veldora and I am the Storm Dragon. To answer your question, I do have a child, but not in the traditional sense. Plus he is very annoying, always trying to destroy stuff. Anyway, may I have your name as well? Normally Veldora would have been much more emotional with others. Usually, he ended up guilt-tripping them into doing what he wanted. This time though, he chose the more diplomatic way because of the way this slime was. It was much smarter than others of its kind. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and I am from Konoha, the village hidden in the leaves. Konoha is in the elemental nations. Have you heard of this land, Veldora-sama? Asked Naruto. He knows that it is not likely that he'll ever go home, but it would be nice to know if there was a chance or not. Well, Uzumaki Naruto, it is nice to meet you. Unfortunately, I have never heard of any of the places you mentioned, and I have lived for a very long time. This just means you have even more reason to consider my offer. It would give you something to do, said Veldora as he watched the slime stare at him. Veldora couldn't see it, but he could tell that Naruto was having a conversation with that fox spirit inside of him. It was strange when Veldora first saw the spirit while trying to communicate with the slime through mindscapes. The spirit easily outgrew his own decreased power, and it seemed like most of the beast's power was being concealed as well. What do you think, Kurama? Naruto asked Kurama because he was the best choice when it came to asking life-changing questions. The Kyuubi had lived for over millennia. It had to be wise in some ways. It would be something to do while we are here. It also gives us a goal. My main one before was just finding a body to use, but that can be more of a side project now. Naruto had put some thought into what he was going to do with his life here now. He may not be able to feel it, but being bored would cause many troubles. Mostly headaches from Kurama complaining about doing nothing. I'd say accept it. It will give you a title in this world. You wouldn't have to rework your way to the top if everyone knew you were taking the legacy of a dragon. Also, I discovered some new abilities in you, but for now, I will tell you just one. Just do exactly as I say. And then Kurama went on to explain how he found an ability called Apex Predator, which allowed Naruto to basically consume any monster or species and gain the traits and abilities of that creature. They would permanently disappear after that. Kurama then explained what he wanted Naruto to offer to Veldora. Naruto looked towards Veldora and started to give his proposition. Veldora-sama, I would be honored to accept your name and live in pride of a powerful dragon. Veldora looked pleased that he considered taking his name. However, I have an offer for you, Veldora-sama. Would you like to know it? Veldora looked confused but slowly nodded his head. I must explain something first then. And then Naruto explained how Apex Predator worked. So basically you want to absorb my very being into you, and your logical reasoning to me agreeing is because I would just be stuck here till I died anyway? Naruto nodded his head. There was no point in lying to the dragon. Haha. I like you, Naruto Uzumaki. Very well, I accept your offer. As for the name that you will be taking, it will be Gifu, roughly translates to hurricane. You are now named Naruto Uzumaki Gifu. Now Naruto, devour me so I can be laid to rest. Naruto gave the mighty beast one last respectful nod before spreading his body out all over the entire barrier and Veldora's body. Slowly he wrapped around the entire thing and his body started compacting, shrinking down until it was just Naruto there in his slime form. I will forever remember you, Veldora the Storm Dragon. Naruto then turned around and started looking for an exit. It turns out the cave was much larger than he had first thought. Along the way, he found many monsters but ended up devouring them for their stats and extra abilities. Some were new to him and others that could be done in his past anyway. Like the steel string, from a spider monster, could be replicated with ninja wire, but he couldn't recreate the poison breath he had gotten from a giant snake monster. Once he had finally reached the exit, he came across humans. He was tempted to devour one of them to gain a more humanoid shape but decided against it when he realized how stupid they were. It would be more harmful to even look generally like them. Instead, he opted to wait until he found a criminal to steal their body. Naruto was sure that he could edit the body to look more like his old one too. Once the humans had passed, Naruto saw the outside world. It was beautiful. It was similar to Konoha with a large forest with a couple of mountains surrounding it, including the one he just came out of. He continued on a path he had seen just outside of the mountain. He didn't know what it led to, but most paths led to some sort of civilization. Naruto needed to find somewhere to get food and sleep, after all. He couldn't easily hunt because he was unfamiliar with the landscape or even the animals in the land. Though he doesn't even know if he needs basic needs anymore, that was an issue for another time. Kurama would please stay aware from me while I walk. I am not able to feel everything around me in this form, said Naruto. This was something they had done plenty of times during the war. It was a good way to not be snuck upon. It made sense too. Kurama's range was much larger than Naruto's when it comes to sense. Very well. And then it was silent again. Naruto walked, or hopped, for a while before Kurama spoke again. There is a group of what appears to be monsters ahead. Small fry mostly, nothing to worry about, explained Kurama. Naruto gave him a mental nod and proceeded towards the group of monsters. Depending on the type, they may or may not live in packs of some kind. When Naruto reached the monster's location, his sweat dropped. He barely stepped out in front of them before asking to be spared. It was pathetic, really. I see the monsters of this world are nowhere near the level of our home, thought Naruto. It wasn't too much of a surprise though, with monsters like the Biju walking around. It was hard to match beasts that could destroy mountains accidentally. He also heard some things that the monsters were saying. It was strange when he noticed they were referring to him in some kind of holy matter, like some kind of supreme ruler. You there! Naruto pointed to a monster, and it quickly kneeled in front of him. What creatures are you? And why are you all acting so fearfully of me? Asked Naruto. The creature was quick to answer. We are goblins, Slime-sama. And we have fear you for your tremendous power is leaking all over the place. Even a pack of direwolves ran away earlier when they felt you, as Slime-sama, explained the apparent goblin. If you wish, we will bring you to our village. It would be an honor, Slime-sama. We would provide the best hospitality possible. asked the goblin. Naruto looked at them for a few seconds before nodding, at least nodding as well as a slime could. Very well, and I do have a name. It is Naruto Uzumaki Gafu. Now lead the way. Excuse my manners, do you have a name? Asked Naruto. The goblin shook his head. No, Naruto-sama, most monsters do not possess names. The only way to get them is from humans or other powerful beings naming monsters. It gives the monster a great boost in power as well, explained the goblin from earlier. That's strange. Lead the way to this village and I shall name all of you. All the goblin's eyes bulged out of their heads slightly. The goblin slowly nodded his head. He was scared after hearing that the slime would name them all. It was incredible. Maybe he could ask if Naruto-sama would help his village. Kami knows it needed help. Naruto-sama? Naruto slightly moved to indicate that the goblin could continue. Would you be willing to help our village? Even temporarily would be greatly appreciated. We need someone who is powerful and can protect everyone. Our village is poor and run down. Surely with you by our side, Naruto-sama, we could thrive tremendously. Naruto thought about the pros and cons with Kurama in his head. Kurama thought it was a good idea, mostly because he thought it was humorous how much the goblins worshipped the usually bashful blonde. I agree with you, Kurama. It would also do us well to start a base of operations, so to speak. And with that, Naruto agreed to stay with goblins. They celebrated the whole way back to their village. It made Naruto smile when he saw how cheerful the goblins were. It reminded him of the gang back home, including Sasuke, before he started to become his current self. The positive thing is that I didn't turn into a brooding emo, though Kurama would kick my ass if I ever started brooding like Sasuke. His excuse would be something like, the greatest Biju's container will not act like an accursed Uchiha. Naruto knew it was more of his pride being broken by Madara. Madara was the one thing that could always set Kurama off. Somewhere in another world, a certain Uchiha Tsuked, when he sneezed, someone had been annoyingly thinking about him, probably some stupid blonde. Walking towards the village, Naruto could easily tell how bad this place was. The goblins had understated how bad it was. It was a miracle that any building was standing, and Naruto bluntly told them so. This place is a dump, and it will need a lot of work. Will you lead me to your leader? Asked Naruto. The goblin that talked to Naruto nodded. Great, then I will name you first. There was a pause as the goblin stared at Naruto in anticipation. You will be called Rigor. The goblin started crying, which confused Naruto because he had thought that he wanted a name. Do you not like the name? I can change it if you want. The goblin seemed to flip a switch and was instantly on his feet again. No, Naruto-sama, I do like the name. The name Rigor was given to my elder brother by a demon lord's underling named Gelmud, and I am very happy to continue his legacy, said Rigor. Now come with me, Naruto-sama. I do not wish to keep the chief waiting. Naruto nodded and hopped with Rigor towards a tent. Inside there was another goblin, very old and very short. Naruto entered and was asked to sit on a haystack in front of the chief. Welcome, Naruto-sama. I have received word that you would be willing to keep this village under your protection. Naruto nodded. Thank you very much, Naruto-sama. We are forever in your debt. If there is anything we can do to better accommodate you, don't hesitate to ask, said the elder goblin. Naruto nodded again and looked at each goblin standing in the tent, and then looked at the elder goblin again. In that case, bring everyone from the village outside and I will name everyone. Afterward, please direct me where I will be staying for the meantime. The elder goblin looked like he was about to pass out from surprise. He nodded and looked towards his subordinates. Gather everyone in the middle of the village at once. Naruto-sama is willing to bless us all, said the elder goblin. There was a resounding "Hi!" before the goblins went out to do their jobs. Naruto exited with the elder goblin out of the tent once they left. Outside they were able to see the large crowd of goblins standing in line. Naruto walked up to the front of the line before turning to the elder goblin. You will be named Rigord, and will be the Goblin Lord. Then he turned around towards the line and started naming them. 3 hours later. Naruto was glad he asked where he was staying before he started naming. It was very exhausting on his reserves. During the naming process, he had learned from Kurama that he was losing magicules each time he named someone. When he asked Rigard about it, he said that Naruto was essentially sharing a part of his magicules with each monster. The stronger the monster, the more magicules it took up. He hadn't realized how many goblins there were apparently. There were goblins that came to this village after the direwolves had killed their village. He had named the last when he heard a howl in the distance. Naruto turned towards Rigard, who had evolved and became very muscular and young-looking. "Rigard-san, what was that?" Rigard looked towards Naruto fearfully but remembered his rumored strength. It was very similar to Veldora the Storm Dragon before he disappeared. "That, Naruto-sama, was a direwolves pack. It is likely they will come here to try and get a free meal. It usually takes 10 of us to take down one," Rigard said, momentarily forgetting that everyone had evolved. "Please, Naruto-sama, let me ask this selfish request of protecting the village," he said, almost crying at the end. Naruto merely sighed. "Rigard-san, did you forget I had promised to protect this village? I may not scream it out anymore, but Naruto Uzumaki Gufu does not go back on his promises. Just keep everyone in their houses and I will take care of everything," said Naruto as he left to go make preparations for the wolves. There were several ways he could do this: ninja wire, poison breath, or just spam predator. He was exhausted though, so his options were limited. Reeling in his worried emotions, Naruto calmly talked to Kurama. "What do you think, Kurama?" It was nice to have a second opinion on everything. It widened his vision of what he could do and couldn't do. "Well, if you are as tired as you said, then it would be easiest to make them all run away at one time. You could do this in 2 ways. 1. Use my chakra to intimidate them to make them run away. It would be in their instincts to run away from stronger opponents. The second way would be to kill their leader, but there's a chance they could want revenge. The choice is up to you," explained Kurama. Naruto thought for a few seconds before coming to a decision. "While I think using your chakra would be easier, we don't know if it would even work. We'll have to take the risk of killing the leader first. I think I'll just eat him. I'll gain a new form and maybe new allies if I can get them to serve under me." So it was decided, Naruto would try to befriend the wolves. They could work together with goblins and it would benefit the village with protection as well. Naruto hopped into the front of the village, right in front of the pack of direwolves. "Leave this village alone or I will use force to remove you from here. We do not have to fight. It's your choice," yelled Naruto to the direwolves. Naruto hasn't covered up his plethora of magicules, so it was spreading throughout the area. Some of the wolves looked hesitant and started moving backward. The leader's pride wouldn't allow him to back down quietly. "Very well, if my comrades are too scared of you, then I will come to eat you myself." The leader quickly ran towards Naruto with the intent to eat him whole. "Ha! Do you think you scare me? I am the great leader of this pack. I am the strongest in the forest," yelled the leader as he was just a couple feet from Naruto. His pride had blinded him from seeing the superior monster in front of him. One of the direwolves tried warning him. "Father!" yelled presumably the son of the leader. Just as the leader was about to eat Naruto, Naruto jumped back slightly and quickly went to get his free meal. Naruto's body expanded into an ocean shape and surrounded the leader's body. Some of the direwolves went to go attack Naruto as he was consuming their leader, but the goblins started shooting arrows from the village. "Do not worry, Naruto-sama. We will cover you," yelled Rigard from the front. "Ready! Aim! Fire!" Hundreds of arrows fell from the sky onto the pack of direwolves. They stood no chance. The goblins were evolved, so there was more impact when being hit by an arrow. Most shots weren't lethal, but they still did damage to the pack. Soon enough the rain of arrows had stopped when Naruto completely consumed the leader. "Enough!" roared Naruto in his new form. He looked like the old direwolf leader, but much bigger, and his presence demanded respect. "Direwolves! You will plead your loyalty to me and this village or I will dash." Naruto didn't get to finish his sentence because the entire pack was in front of him with their heads down. "We will pledge loyalty, Slime-sama," the entire pack said. The one that called the leader's son stepped forward. "Master, I will follow you until my death," he pledged. This one was different from others. In the middle of his forehead there was a star shape. Naruto was planning to have them serve him anyway. This worked perfectly for him. Sure, why not? I'll name all of you tomorrow. Before you had arrived, I just finished naming everyone in the village. This made the direwolves' eyes widen, to think this slime was strong enough to defeat their leader and name an entire village. Naruto ignored the surprised looks and went back to the village. Naruto-sama, that was amazing! I expected nothing less from someone as powerful as you, cried Rigard. Everyone else was saying the same things to him. It reminded Naruto of the time he was called a hero after defeating Pain. Good times at Kurama? Asked Naruto. Maybe for you. Do I have to remind you that I was still stuck on killing someone who would later become my friend? Kurama spoke in a somber tone. It probably took a hit to his pride to admit he was saddened or disturbed by his past actions. Eh? Who cares about that anymore? We're in a new world now, we can be the best of friends. Naruto yelled in his head, only to be yelled at and told they weren't best friends. Naruto just laughed off Kurama's tsundere tendencies. Naruto was picked up from the ground and tossed into the air by some of the villagers. They sang praises about the great Naruto-sama. When the direwolves came, they were accepted with open arms after Naruto told everyone they worked for him now. Later into the night, the village wanted Naruto to give a speech. This made him slightly nervous, but he calmed himself by the time he got to the pedestal. We gather here today to celebrate the start of a new beginning. We will bring prosperity and growth to this village. We already have the backing of direwolves, and we will continue to gain allies. Soon, everyone in this world will know we exist, and we will be a great nation. All the goblins yelled in agreement, and the direwolves howled towards the moon. Naruto then stepped down from the pedestal and interacted with the crowd. It was around midnight when Naruto was able to break free and escape to somewhere he could sleep. He was given the best hut/tent they had available. There was also a neatly placed haystack for him to rest on. Naruto sat on the haystack for 30 minutes before realizing he couldn't sleep. His body wouldn't shut down. He was aware no matter what he tried to do, his solution was to try to run on the lowest amount of magicules possible and to turn off his magic sense. Next day, Naruto's senses came back to him once he felt recharged enough. The entire time he slept, he couldn't tell what was happening, but he felt better now. Naruto re-enabled his magic sense and noticed there was no one within the tent with him. He slid outside to go see if he could find Rigard. He wanted to learn more about this world and its inhabitants. When Naruto came out of the tent, he was given a lot of greetings. The villagers seemed to be working on rebuilding and making the village more fortified. Good for them. The direwolves walked up to Naruto. The old leader's son spoke first. Master, it is great to see you awake again. Did you rest well? He asked. Yes, though I didn't sleep really. It was more of a weird shutdown phase. Anyways, bring your pack to me and I will heal and name everyone, said Naruto. The direwolf nodded and went to gather his brethren. Naruto looked towards the crowd. Do any of you know where Rigard is? I would like some information from him. It was Rigard's son who answered him. Father is helping to build a fence around the village, Naruto-sama. You can find him on the east end of the village, said Rigard. Rigard had evolved to be taller and seemed to have gained some muscle. Now that Naruto was actually looking, everyone has evolved a bit. Most were taller and had more refined and noticeable muscles. Except for Gobta, whose evolution was more in spirit than in physical change. Naruto nodded to Rigard in thanks and planned to go there after naming the direwolves. He had a plan to slowly name each of them instead of one after another. The direwolves returned to Naruto near the center of the village. There were a good amount of them too. A lot of goblins took direwolves as companions. They must not have held any grudges, at least if their tails wagging was any indication. The first to get named was the old leader's son. Your name will be Ranga. How does that sound to you? Ranga nodded his head and his tail was rapidly wagging behind him. Of course, master. Any name you give me would be amazing, said Ranga. He then moved behind Naruto and let the other direwolves step forward. Naruto had guessed that Ranga would be staying by his side. That was fine by him, it reminded him of Kiba and Akamaru. Naruto proceeded to name every direwolf one by one. This time he didn't need to rest because there were not as many wolves as there were goblins in the first place, even if the direwolves were marginally more powerful than the goblins. After naming all the direwolves, Naruto, with Ranga following him, went to find Rigard. He was reminded by Kurama to find out more about this land and what monsters there were. It made sense to him. Finding information was one of the main jobs of being a ninja. Naruto found Rigard near the east side of the village instructing other goblins to build a wooden wall. It was a shitty wall, but improvements could be made later on. "Rigard-san!" yelled Naruto to get his attention. "Could you come to find me whenever you are done with the fence? I want some info about this world." Rigard nodded his head and went back to building the fence. Naruto turned back to go to his temporary home to wait for Rigard. There wasn't much else to do. He looked to his side to speak with his companion. "Ranga, is there anything you wish to do? Go on a walk or something in that fashion." "Anything you wish to do is what I wish to do, master," answered Ranga. "But since you are asking, I wouldn't mind going for a walk, master." Naruto nodded to him and hopped on his back. "Is there anywhere you want to go? Somewhere with a good view?" asked Naruto. Ranga answered yes and told him to hold on. Naruto was confused for a second before Ranga started sprinting full speed out of the village. He ran for 10 minutes before Naruto called out, "Stop, Ranga! I'm going to fall off." Ranga didn't take into consideration that Naruto might not have been holding on completely, and because of that, when Ranga suddenly stopped, Naruto went flying. Naruto was thrown into a tree on the side of the path. He had scared some humans that were walking nearby. Ranga quickly ran over to Naruto and began apologizing and asking if he was alright. "It's okay, Ranga, I am fine. We just need to work on your stops, they're a little too sudden to safely get off." Ranga nodded his head rapidly. Naruto turned his body to the humans who were on the path. "Sorry about that, my companion here is new to being used as a horse. Where are you all heading?" said Naruto to the 3 humans that were on the path. The female of the group spoke first. "Eh? Is that slime talking to us? Cable, Jido, are you hearing this too?" The female was blonde with a headband/bow. She was wearing a pink shirt with a white waistband that came up to her chest, A/N, not a clothes guy, don't know what to call this, sorry. "It seems like it was, I'm the leader of this party and I say we kill it," said one of the males, Cable, Naruto guessed. Cable had brown hair and didn't look that intimidating with most of his clothes looking worn. He wore a brown shirt and a black jacket that went from his shoulders to his stomach. On his back was a sword in a sheath. "I think you all are going insane finally, I didn't hear anything," said the other male, presumably Jido. Jido had a shade darker brown than his companion, and was wearing a red bandana around his head with a green jacket underneath a brown vest. He looked just about as intimidating as Cable, which wasn't much. "Oh, don't just think you can easily kill me!" yelled Naruto. The group of adventurers had to look down at the slime. "Yeah, I can talk, now quit ignoring me!" Naruto already went through the phase of being ignored. No way in hell was he about to be ignored by the people he had spared before. Even if they didn't know it. "Look, it has intelligence dash!" Naruto slammed into Cable, sending him into a tree that lined the path. His friends ran to him as he was slightly unconscious. "What did I say about ignoring me? If you're going to talk about me, do it to my face!" Naruto was annoyed before, now he was pissed. These guys just couldn't get the hint to quit ignoring him. "Now, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Gufu, and this here is Ranga. What are your names?" he asked. Each adventurer introduced themselves. There was Jido, Elin, and Cable. Cable was the leader and a fighter class adventurer, Jido is thief class, and Elin was a mage class. "Nice to meet you guys, so where are you guys going?" asked Naruto. Maybe there was a settlement of humans nearby. If there was, then there would be multiple reasons to go. One would be to find a body he could consume because, as much as he likes the improvements of being a slime, being in a human body would be more comfortable for him. Another would be to see the difference between humans here and the ones back in his world. "We are just coming back from a quest in the Dwarven Kingdom. They needed some magic potions delivered. Now we're on our way to report to the guild master to receive our reward," answered the leader. Anyways, we gotta get going now. Nice meeting you, I guess. Safe travels, Naruto-san. Jido and Elin followed their leader's example and waved goodbyes. What did you think of them, Ranga? Asked Naruto. Ranga said they looked pretty stupid for ignoring his master like that. I mean the dwarves, clarified Naruto. Apologies, master. The dwarves are one of the more industrially advanced countries and are known for producing high-quality items. They are mostly friendly except for when threatened by another force, whether it be country or monster. Their king is Gazel Dwargo, a powerful, influential, and, from what I've heard, a fair ruler. He has been said to be a master of swordsmanship, explained Ranga. To Naruto, it seemed like this nation was one of the more powerful nations in this world. Similar to how Konoha was the strongest in the elemental nations 95% of the time. Naruto nodded and thanked Ranga. I wonder how much of a fight he would give me, though I would have to start learning a sword style if I ever wanted to compete with him. Maybe we can check out this dwarven kingdom in a couple of days. It would be beneficial to have some trading places, mused Naruto. Kurama was surprised at how Naruto has matured. If this was a year or two ago, Naruto would have fought before thinking how it would affect his village's trade. Let's head back to where you want to show me, Ranga, but when you stop this time, do it slowly, begged Naruto. As you wish, master. Ranga picked up the yellow slime similarly to how a female dog would to her pups. And with that, Ranga ran as fast as he could with Naruto trying to hold on. Slow down, you overgrown dog! Screamed Naruto. He said he didn't want to repeat, and now this mud is going faster. I don't know what you're talking about, master, answered Ranga. Naruto gained a tick mark on his head. The forest was filled with yells and screams of a slime trying to survive on a wild direwolf. 10 minutes later, hill overlooking village. This is beautiful, Ranga. When did you find this view? I had noticed the hill before but never considered how nice the view would be, said Naruto as he slid off Ranga's back to the grassy ground. This almost reminds me of the Hokage monuments overlooking Konoha. Truly, Naruto was mesmerized by the view. Truthfully, I found this view while looking for areas to easily hunt this village before you killed my father, said Ranga. Naruto's sweat dropped at how casually he said that. Master, where is that Konoha place you talked about? I have never heard of that nation before, and our pack used to hunt everywhere, asked Ranga. Naruto considered lying and telling he lived in seclusion, but Naruto's never been good at lying anyways. Plus, this might create problems later on. Ranga, what I am about to tell you must stay between you and me. You cannot speak about it to anyone until I feel the need for everyone to know, understood? Said a serious Naruto. Ranga nodded his head sternly, understanding the seriousness his master was showing. Alright, I will tell you the story of Naruto Uzumaki Namake's Gufu, the host of the Nine-Tailed Fox, 4th Shinobi World War hero, and the human who was reincarnated as a slime, spoke Naruto. Naruto kept his word and told Ranga everything, from how unfair the academy teachers were, to his childhood of being treated less than everyone else, his formation of his genin team, his first mission out of the village, and so on. Naruto finished his tale when he told Ranga of his team, brother, and how he had died in the first place. Naruto stared over the village with a slightly somber look. There were memories he wishes he could forget, and others he would cherish until he died. Master, said a quiet Ranga. Naruto tilted his body to better face Ranga. Master, no matter what anyone else says, you are strong. Mentally, physically, and emotionally. Truly, I have found the best master anyone could ask for, said a passionate Ranga. Naruto nodded his thanks to Ranga. It was good to have some support behind him. He's right, you know. You never heard this from me, but you are the only human since my father that I have been able to genuinely respect outside of strength, said Kurama. There is no one else I would want to spend my life with. Partner Naruto could feel how genuine the emotions of his two companions were. Ah, come on now, you're going to make me cry, Ranga. Kurama, said Naruto slightly laughing as he spoke. Come on, let's head back to the village. I told Rigard-san I wanted information about this world, said Naruto as he was lifted back onto Ranga's back. Ranga nodded to Naruto and went full speed back to the village, Luckily, Naruto was a little more used to Ranga's antics at this point. Village. Ranga walked with Naruto on his back up to Rigard, who was near the middle of the town ordering people around. "Rigard-san!" yelled Naruto as he asked Ranga to bring him closer to Rigard. "Think you could give me the rundown of the different species of your world now?" asked Naruto. "Of course, Naruto-sama, follow me to my tent," said Rigard. He led them to a tent that was slightly larger than the rest and looked like the most structurally secure house in the village. Ranga waited outside because he couldn't fit without breaking something. Rigard sat across Naruto and started to explain. "First, we should probably start with the strongest creatures in all land, the demon lords. Each demon lord is rumored to be able to take on armies with ease. They have underlings underneath them that should be respected, for their strength is nothing to laugh at either. Since there are a lot of species everywhere, I'll break down some of the main, or important ones. There are us, goblins, dryads, direwolves, orcs, lizardmen, dwarves, humans, ogres, and a plethora of different species that would take days to name. Right now, the only monsters our village could handle an attack against would be neighboring villages, but that is mostly from you naming us and the direwolves' companionship. Just from what I can feel from you, Naruto-sama, I would say you are on par with some demon lords or their underlings," explained Rigard. Naruto understood. For the most part, these demon lords sounded similar to Kages, and everything else didn't seem that worrisome to him. "Rigard-san, do you think it would be beneficial to set up some kind of trading deal with the dwarves? I hear that their resources are plentiful and their weaponry is top-notch," said Naruto. "I ask you because you are the Goblin Lord. It is your decision what you want to involve your people in a trade deal." Naruto wanted to make sure Rigard understood that he was still in charge of this village. Naruto was more like an ANBU agent, protecting it when people didn't suspect it. He may have wanted to be Hokage at one point, but that was when he was a kid and hadn't understood the responsibilities that came with leading Konoha. He would much rather take a more backseat approach to all of this. Rigard was silent for a few minutes, debating the pros and cons. Eventually, he looked back up at Naruto and nodded his head. "Hi, Naruto-sama, I do believe we could advance much quicker if we had resources from the dwarves. The only problem would be paying for it. Our village is very poor at this time, so we might have to do some odd jobs while there to earn money," explained Rigard. He wasn't going to deny that dealing with dwarves would be a major boost to the village. They just needed the money to get their resources. "Alright, I'll head out tomorrow with Ranga to check out the Dwarven Kingdom. I should return within a couple of days of leaving," said Naruto. Rigard was about to start talking when Naruto cut him off. "Don't worry about expenses. I'll do some odd jobs while there and try selling the resources I would get from killing monsters on the way there," said Naruto. Rigard nodded, agreeing with his plan. "Then we will wish you the best for your travels tomorrow, Naruto-sama," said Rigard. Naruto mock saluted him and turned to go to his hut. "Hopefully, this dwarven place can give us some entertainment," said Kurama from Naruto's mind. "There hasn't been a single thing you've met, besides that dragon, that could match your power at this time," complained Kurama. Naruto mentally chuckled. "Shouldn't you be happy that I'm the strongest entity around here? Or are you truly that bored that you can throw that pride away?" asked Naruto. Kurama mentally chuckled at Naruto's slight naivety of the situation. He said that everything Naruto's met was weaker than him, not everything Kurama sensed. There were a good amount of entities he sensed that matched Naruto or surpassed him majorly, for the moment at least. The brat was going to have to train a lot to regain his strength. Kurama was going to annoy him to train back to his old strength. "I'm going to have a good amount of entertainment from this world," thought Kurama. You say something for ball?" asked Naruto. "No, I didn't." "What was that, brat?" yelled Kurama. Naruto just laughed off his antics and cut off their link to save himself from having a headache. Village gate. "Are you sure you don't want any goblins to go with you, Naruto-sama? Surely you could take at least someone with you," said Rigard. It was the next day and Naruto was just about to head out with Ranga to the Dwarven Kingdom. The plan was to get a dwarf, or multiple dwarves, to help with the reconstruction of their village. "Rigard-san, I'll be fine, trust me. Ranga is strong and I'm not too shabby myself. We should be fine, and unless we meet a dragon, nothing will happen," said Naruto. Kurama mentally facepalmed for jinxing himself. Just make sure the village is still alive by the time I return. Naruto was lifted onto Ranga's back and secured on top. He waved to the village and told Ranga to start the journey. Forest outside Dwarven Kingdom. So, how do you think I go about this? Asked Naruto as they walked through the gates. Jobs first or go straight to the king? Naruto had mused going in and acting like a teenager again, but remembered the amount of responsibility he had for the village. He was the one that had to represent the village to get a deal with the dwarves. Usually, diplomatic matters are settled first before trying to make money in another nation, remarked Kurama dryly. You'll more than likely have to meet with someone before going straight to Your Highness, though, said Kurama. Naruto nodded and let Ranga know what the plan was. They would walk from stand to stand asking for directions to someone or somewhere they could set up a way to speak to the king. Most had said they would need to find a minister to talk to, so that's what they did. After around 3 hours of searching, they made it to a government-looking building. Inside there was a receptionist, and some chairs on either side of the room. The room itself looked homely, but at the same time, it looked like a business. Naruto hopped onto Ranga and told him to slowly walk up to the receptionist so he didn't scare her. Hello? Miss? Could you assist me with something? Asked Naruto. The receptionist was busy with other papers, so she hadn't seen who was speaking. When she turned, she promptly screamed. What are you screaming about, lady? Is it because I'm a slime? I'm pretty sure that's racist, yelled Naruto as she started throwing things at him and calling for guards. Hey! Whoa, no need for guards. I come in peace. He tried being peaceful. Guards came in from the doorway. What happened here? Are these monsters bothering you, miss? Asked the lead guard in a calm voice. The lady was shaking and wouldn't answer him. Never mind, forget I asked. He looked towards Naruto and Ranga. Alright, come on, scum. We're throwing you out of here, he yelled. He ordered the other dwarven guards to pick him and Ranga up to throw them out. Normally Naruto would have fought this, but he was way too confused to fight them. Ranga could have easily dispatched them, but seeing his master doing nothing, he thought it wasn't worth the effort. Naruto came back to his senses once he felt he was thrown onto some grass. What in the hell? Slowly whispered Naruto. After he regained his senses, he shook his head. Haha, I guess the name monster really sticks, stated Naruto depressingly. Ranga stayed silent to let his master sort out his mind after reliving some of the abuse of his old home. Heh. You truly are an idiot, said Kurama in a mocking tone. What was that, you bastard? Yelled Naruto as he entered his mindscape. I know you're supposed to be a giant mass of just pure angriness, but have some sympathy, he cried/yelled. Kurama merely facepalmed at Naruto and wondered where his common sense had gone. Naruto! Naruto glared but still looked up. What is the one thing you haven't tried since we've arrived here? And if you say ramen, then I will beat the shit out of you, I swear to Kami, said Kurama with annoyance in his tone near the end. Naruto thought for 2 seconds before making a face of realization. Chakra! He yelled excitedly. Does that mean my chakra is one of my skill things? Asked Naruto. Kurama nodded. Yosh! Let's go test the security of this world against the henge, he said. Kurama stopped him though. What is it, buddy? First off, don't call me buddy. Second, there's a difference between the skill and your old chakra. The biggest difference is how it's made. Instead of the chakra being moved through your chakra pathways, it's in more of a center point that's in your stomach area. Plus, it is not simply chakra anymore, it's a mixture of your magicules and chakra. Simply put, you have even more potent chakra at your disposal. You may be able to make physical henges. But that means so much more chakra control training. You're going to have to make the Rasengan control look like tree climbing, explained Kurama. Will I be able to use henge still? Asked Naruto, worried because of how shot his control sounded. Depends on how rusty you've become, answered Kurama. Naruto nodded and tried henging into a dwarf. The result was good, but he kept his blonde hair and whiskers on his cheeks. Naruto concentrated harder on his face, and then the whiskers disappeared. Awesome, we should be able to sneak in easier now, said an excited Naruto. Ranga, I would henge you, but I don't have enough control at this time. Could you wait in the forest and wait for me to return? Asked Naruto his partner. Ranga nodded and told Naruto he would be in the forest. Naruto waved to Ranga and set out on his mission. 3 weeks later. Why is it so hard to talk to the king? I've been here for 3 weeks, mentally screamed Naruto as he left his current odd job. He had visited Ranga after 2 days to let him know that this mission may take a while. Naruto had also asked Ranga to run back to the village to let them know he's extending his visit. Maybe because you've always been a bad ninja. You would have had problems with stealing money from a rich guy, typical hero complex. Just knock out a minister and henge into him, then you can easily get a hearing with the king, suggested Kurama. I know, but how will that look when we go to talk to him? I'd look like a terrorist in his eyes. I would be perceived as a threat to his nation's security, said Naruto as he pointed out the flaws in Kurama's idea. Maybe I could try asking that scared receptionist again, Kurama snorted but didn't say the idea as bad. Naruto took that as the go-ahead and started to walk towards the same building as last time. It looked the same as before, and the dramatic receptionist was helping some people. That was lucky for him. He didn't want to be thrown out again for scaring the lady. He stepped into the line and waited for his turn to be called forward. 20 minutes later and Naruto was allowed to talk to the receptionist. Hello, I was wondering if there was any way I could speak to the king about some things that could benefit the country, stated Naruto in a calm but firm tone. Could you please set up a time I could meet with him? He asked politely. The receptionist smiled and nodded her head. Yup. I can fit you in to meet with him in an hour. Does that work for you? She asked kindly. Naruto nodded his head, not caring how long it took at this point. Great. You have a name I could put down? Naruto nodded his head. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze Gifu, or just shorten it to Naruto Uzumaki Gifu, he said. His father's name was important to him, but he had spent most of his life as just an Uzumaki, so he wasn't going to throw a fit if someone didn't write it down. Gifu was more important because it was someone's dying wish for him to use it, and he'd be damned to disrespect the first person nice to him in this world like that. The lady wrote some things on a piece of paper and handed it to Naruto. The paper had the number 119 on it. Please just sit over there on one of the chairs or come back in an hour for your meeting with the king, she said in a professional tone. Naruto nodded and turned to sit down. He had completed all the work his job for the day earlier and had nothing else to do. Naruto sat in a chair in the far left of the room. It gave him a better view of everyone and every exit in case something happened. 20 minutes passed before a minister walked in. He had brown hair, a split mustache, and a beard. His clothes were simple but elegant, with there being a white robe that stood up around his head and a blue undershirt. While the man walked up to the receptionist, Naruto caught his eye for a moment. The look in his eye was similar to an animal catching a seemingly helpless prey. Naruto adopted a monotone face and glared slightly. This guy is trouble, mumbled Naruto in his head to Kurama. I don't need KCM, Kurama chakra mode, to see how many negative emotions this guy has. It's rolling off him in waves, thought Naruto. Kurama told him to not die and went back to sleep, not caring what Naruto does. The guy walked up to the receptionist and said a few words Naruto couldn't make out. The receptionist got a slightly worried expression and seemed to agree with whatever he was saying. She pointed at Naruto. The guy turned around and had a smug look on his face as he walked up to Naruto. Did you really think you'd get away with it, monster? He sneered. Let me introduce you to the one that will slay you. I am Vesta, a minister, and I demand you uncloak yourself, he yelled dramatically. Naruto sighed and rolled his eyes. Surprised it took them this long to realize I was hinged. Let's just get this over with, I guess, thought an annoyed Naruto. He was so close to finally meeting the king, stupid minister. Naruto made a hand sign and then turned into his slime form again. Wow! Look at you! Finding the monster that's been in your kingdom for 3 weeks, good for you, he said in a heavily sarcastic voice. Did you want a cookie? Vesta sneered at Naruto. Don't try to lie. Obviously, you've only been here for an hour before we caught you. Now come, so we can take you to the king for your execution. said Vesta. You're being tried for impersonating a dwarf and threatening civilians, stated Vesta. Huh, do I look like someone else? I understand the threatening civilians because of the whole receptionist thing 3 weeks ago, but who do I look like? Wondered Naruto. He also wondered if everyone received harsh punishments, or if it was just because he was a slime. It's whatever. I'll use this as a chance to talk with the king, thought Naruto as they placed him in a cage. Vesta added a piece of information that invalidated Naruto's plans. And don't even think about speaking in front of the king. You'll have a public defendant speak for you instead, said Vesta. Prick, thought Naruto. Dwarf Kingdom throne room. Naruto was carried into a room and instantly he could tell this was the throne room. There were 4 main structures in the room. There was one tall pedestal with 2 other pedestals below it on its side, with there being one short pedestal directly in front of it. Naruto was placed on a chair behind a fence-like wall. Along each side were guards with weapons that looked like scythes. One of the people on the lower pedestals started speaking. Your Majesty King Gazel Dwargo will now enter, he said in a commanding tone. Vesta, to his right, went down to one knee and bowed. Naruto was a slime, so he couldn't exactly bow or go on his knees. This court case will now start, he yelled dramatically. Naruto couldn't talk, but apparently, he was going to get a public speaker to defend him. The guy didn't look that credible, and Naruto could already tell this guy wasn't going to defend him for shit. The defendant, a slime, was seen harassing the receptionist for the first time 3 weeks ago. He then came back impersonating as a dwarf and came to try and assassinate you, Your Majesty, spoke the public lawyer. Naruto had a twitch mark on his head and wanted to rip him a new one, but decided to try and still act civil. Your Majesty, if I may, I had originally come to your country to try and make some kind of deal between my village and your kingdom, said Naruto. Vesta was about to yell at Naruto to be quiet in front of the king, but Gazel raised his hand to stop him. Gazel waved at Naruto to continue. Thank you. There is a goblin village south of here that I have recently taken into my protection. As a part of this agreement, I help the village grow and prosper. Right now, we have no trade routes, no trade deals, and nothing to make a steady income for our growing village. I had come here intending to make a deal, Your Majesty. Would you care to hear me out? Asked Naruto. It was completely silent after Naruto stated his point in being there. Vesta and most of the other government people look offended and disgusted by the idea of dealing with a goblin village. Gazel himself still had his monotone face, but Naruto suspected he was considering the deal. And why wouldn't he? It's not like making a deal with the village would suddenly make all of his nation's money disappear. The other occupants in the room started to talk, and talking led to yelling, and yelling led to shouting for Naruto's execution. Silence! Said a very stern Gazel. Instantly it was quiet again. What do you have in mind, Naruto Uzumaki-gifu? What can your village do that would better my nation? Asked Gazel. Naruto mentally cheered that the king was a reasonable guy. Mainly we'd be able to provide wood from the surrounding forest. We'd also support you in any war that your nation gets into. There's also the trade route through our village towards several nations south of us. What we ask from you is simple. We'd like to have at least one dwarf come to our village to help us rebuild our homes. And lastly, we want to be able to work in your kingdom to make money, to buy materials from you. That is all, said Naruto in a respectful, professional voice. Gazel closed his eyes and looked like he considered the offer. Naruto was receiving glares from every individual in the room, besides Gazel himself. Minutes passed before Gazel opened his eyes and spoke. Very well, and does your village have a name so that I can endorse it to neighboring nations? He asked. Gazel agreed because of the trading route. If he could make deals with the different demon lord domains south of Dwargen, his kingdom would easily surpass every other nation. No, not as far as I know. Whenever I return to the village, I will ask them, said Naruto. Gazel nodded. Then we will finalize our deal a while. I will consider your village as an official trade partner with our kingdom, said Gazel. He whispered to one of the people standing behind him. One looked like he tried to protest, but Gazel glared at him. Naruto nodded. Thank you for your time. Is there anything else you need from me before I return to my village? He asked. Naruto wouldn't be too surprised if they asked about his henge, or how he had been able to sneak into the kingdom. No, but the dwarf that will be attending you at your village will need help before I send him on his way. His name is Kaijin, and recently he had been tasked with making magic swords. Before he leaves with you, you must help him finish the order. Does this work with you? Asked Gazel. It made sense to Naruto that Gazel would want some kind of benefit towards his nation before letting Naruto take one of his resources. Yeah, that's fine by me. Is there a specific deadline you have? He asked. Within 1 week, I need 100 magic swords from Kaijin. Support him correctly, and you will have the best blacksmith in all of the Dwarven Kingdom in your village, Gazel answered. If he fails, then our deal is off, spoke a stern Gazel. Very well, expect to have your swords by next week at the latest. I may be able to finish them by tomorrow though. Naruto whispered the last part to himself. Gazel heard and looked intrigued but didn't push it. Every nation had its trade secrets that it kept from everyone, including allies. Right, then this court session is dismissed. The slime Naruto Uzumaki is not guilty and is given the right to stay in Dwargen. Gazel's voice echoed through the courtroom. None argued with the king, including the ones who were calling for Naruto's execution. Naruto bowed, to the best of his ability, and left. Vesta looked like someone kicked his puppy. Your Majesty, why would you let that monster go? We have no reason to be making deals with such low dash. He was cut off. Is this how high your ego has grown, Vesta? Do you not see the benefits of that monster? You said you had found him by feeling his magicules constantly flowing, but you missed what mattered. His power was wrapped around him, always ready to be used at a moment's notice. That slime is a trained warrior. He must have been through some kind of war to have those instincts, explained the king with a respectful tone. Vesta numbly nodded, bowed, and left the courtroom. With Naruto. Naruto hinged again but decided that he didn't have to stay a dwarf any longer. He looked similar to what he looked like before dying, but there were some differences. Firstly, his clothes were similar to what Anbu had worn, but fit more to his style. He had a black long-sleeved shirt with orange around the edges. His pants were also black with a double orange stripe going down the sides. On his feet were open-toed sandals that went halfway up his shin. He didn't have the chest plate, arm guards, or even the shin guards. He felt that they would have been too restricting. The next biggest difference was his hair. There was one dark blue lightning-shaped streak that went from the root to the tip of his hair. Kurama and Naruto guessed that it came from absorbing Veldora. He thought it looked cool. His hair was the same as before he died otherwise, and he kept his whiskers. Currently, Naruto was walking around trying to find where Kaijin was but hasn't had any success. Most people knew who he was, but not where. Eventually, someone had told him to go to the guards and ask one of them. They had said a guard named Kaida was his brother, and knew where the blacksmith was. Naruto walked for a couple of minutes before ending back at the entrance of Dwargen. He spotted Kaido and walked up to him. Excuse me, is your name Kaido? He asked politely. Kaido looked a little confused, but answered anyway. Yes, my name is Kaido. What can I do for you? Asked the dwarf. Naruto responded swiftly. I need to know where your brother is. Kaido looked suspicious. I need to know where his shop is so I can be of assistance to him for the magic sword order. King Gazel had asked me to help him in return for his guarantee to be trading partners with my village, explained Naruto. Kaido was still hesitant but agreed anyway. If you do anything to my brother, I swear dash. He was cut off by Naruto. Ma. You dwarves are so serious. If I wanted to kill him, I would have simply done so. Why would I go to someone that would paint me as a suspect? I just wish to help your brother, that way he can assist my village, stated Naruto. Kaido slowly nodded his head. I guess if you swear not to do any harm, I will show you where my brother is, said Kaido. Naruto smiled. Thanks. I can tell we'll become great friends. Kaido shook his head in exasperation. I can tell this kid is going to mentally exhaust me, thought Kaido. Let's get going, commanded Kaido. Naruto mock saluted and followed. Kaijin's blacksmith shop. Kaijin! Yelled Kado as he walked in. I have someone that says he wishes to help with the order. By the anvil! Yelled another voice, presumably Kaijin. Naruto and Kado walked further into the blacksmith. There were 4 people in the room. One was behind the anvil, hammering a sword, and the other 3 were standing off to the side sorting goods. The man behind the anvil stood up and went to shook Naruto's hand. Nice to meet you! My name's Kaijin, what can I do for you? He asked kindly. Naruto smiled and shook Kaijin's hand. Nice to meet you too, Kaijin. My name's Naruto and I'm here to finish your magic sword order by tomorrow, he said cheerily, ignoring the insanity of his words. Kaijin had wide eyes, and the other 3 looked just as surprised. Let's get started, declared Naruto as he went to start figuring out how to make the swords. While he was doing his research, he completely ignored the looks from the other occupants of the room. Heh. Once a prankster, always a prankster, thought Kurama. His thoughts were in a slightly proud or respectful tone. And done! Said an enthusiastic Naruto. Behind him stood Kaijin, Garm, Dold, and Myrm. Naruto had learned their names in the past 12 hours he had spent crafting the 100 swords. Well, it would be more accurate to say his shadow clones spent that long crafting 100 swords. The originals sat on the sidelines learning from the 4 dwarves on how to better craft weapons and gear. Most gear would slow me down, but I've always wanted to try picking up a sword. Mom was said to be the most fearsome swordswoman during her time alive. The real question is what kind of sword I should go for. Naruto had been unconsciously thinking about this while working with the dwarves. How did you do it? These are perfect. There's no way you crafted 100 of them so spot on in less than 24 hours, exclaimed Kaijin, surprising the other 3 of the quality of the swords. With this, I can easily have the order finished. I am forever in your debt, Naruto-san, stated Kaijin while getting down on one knee. Naruto blushed and awkwardly scratched the back of his head. Hey, no need to get down on one knee. Most of the materials were similar to some stones I had picked up because they looked cool, no idea they were special. I do have a request if you don't mind me asking, said Naruto. Kaijin nodded his head eagerly, wanting to pay off his debt early. Great! Then would you be willing to come to my village with me, and possibly train me in the ways of blacksmithing? Asked Naruto. He knew the king wanted to send Kaijin no matter what, but Naruto didn't want that. He understood how hard it could be to leave your home, he's done it himself. Kaijin put his head to his chin and adopted a thinking look. He sat still for a few minutes before seemingly coming to his conclusion. I will come to your village. I needed to get an apprentice one day anyway. He turned to his companions. Would you guys like to come with? I won't make you leave Dworgen if you don't want to, said Kaijin. The oldest, Garm, looked towards his brothers for their decision. Both gave him a nod of approval. We would follow you anywhere, Kaijin. You're like a brother to us now. You can't escape us that easily, exclaimed a cheerful Garm. Dold stated his agreement, and Myrm just made a noise to signify his agreeance. Kaijin slightly teared up. He wiped away any visible tears and turned to Naruto. Does that give you your answer? Asked Kaijin. Naruto nodded and smiled brightly. This is great. Wait until the guys hear about this back home, he yelled excitedly. Come on, let's go give Gazel his order and be on our way, said Naruto. The others nodded and started to pack up the swords Naruto made. Outside Dworgen. That was easier than I expected. I guess I'm used to being shrouded with thanks after doing services, mused Naruto. They had just turned in the magic swords to Gazel and his army. Gazel had been satisfied with the quality and sent them on their way. Naruto turned to his companions. Excuse my mumbling, but are you all ready to go? He asked. They were leaving their home, after all. They all turned their heads slightly to look at their old home with nostalgia. Not going to lie to you, I'm going to miss my home dearly. But with us going with you, we have a chance to see a new world. Plus, it's not like you somehow got us banned from Dworgen. We can still visit whenever we want, said a happy Kaijin. The other 3 responded with similar words. Great, then let's be on our way, stated Naruto. Naruto stopped when he realized he forgot about Ranga. He tried thinking hard to remember where he was. Naruto couldn't see this, but Ranga was suddenly behind him. Naruto felt breathe on his neck and turned around. Kami! Don't scare me like that, Ranga! Yelled Naruto. Where the hell did you even come from? Exclaimed the blonde. I have no clue, master. I just felt a pull and I was instantly here. I had hoped you had an idea of what happened, explained Ranga. Though it was strange because I came straight from your shadow. He trailed off. Naruto got an idea. Ranga, said Naruto. See if you can stay inside my shadow, he said. Ranga nodded. He shrunk down until he just became a tiny black flame that shrunk into Naruto's shadow. That is badass, said the blonde. I wonder if all direwolves can do this? We'll have to test for whenever we get home. Naruto turned to his other companions. Sorry about that, shall we continue? He asked politely. The dwarves numbly nodded, still surprised at seeing the direwolf suddenly appear and then disappear. Forest 5 miles ahead. Wah! Cried 3 voices. It was the group that had met Naruto before. Behind them were giant red ants. There was another person with them, though. The figure had looked female with black hair flowing behind a mask. She wore black leggings and a skirt that split in the middle. She also wore a shirt that fit nicely around her figure and had a red symbol on the front. Strapped on her waist was a sword in a golden scabbard. The girl looked much more composed compared to the other 3. Suddenly, she turned around and wielded her sword, facing the ants. Shizu-san? Yelled the other 3. Run! You can't take all of them! They exclaimed. In her head, she snorted, if I lose to ants, I'll never be able to face anyone ever again, she thought. Suddenly the now named Shizu girl's sword lit up with a flame, surprising the other 3. The first of the colony rushed right to her face, only for her to swipe, and several lit up in flames. The other ants came to avenge their colony members, only to be cut down in the same efficiency. Shizu easily disposed of all their corpses, stabbing each head to ensure they were dead. She just stabbed the last when she heard someone, Elin, scream. Behind you! Shizu turned to see another ant above her, ready to pounce on its meal. She went to strike the ant with her sword, but her vision suddenly blurred, and she stumbled. No! Not now, she cried desperately in her head, not wanting to die just yet. Time slowed as the ant's claws went to strike the downed girl. Slowly it descended from the heavens, red covering all her vision. Oh! Hands off the pretty lady! Yelled a voice from the side, not that Shizu could tell. She was too absorbed in trying to stay alive somehow. Just as she was about to use her last resort, the ant was kicked out of her vision. Are you alright? Asked the same voice as before. Shizu's mask had fallen off sometime between being almost stabbed and the man kicking the ant. Shizu looked up at her savior, and the man was very handsome, more so than any man from her homeworld. Why yes, I am fine. She slightly stuttered. Damn it, Shizu does not stutter. Thank you for your help, but the ant is still alive. She pointed to her side to see it getting up. The mystery man clicked his tongue. Damn, Kurama was right. I need to train more, especially if I can't kill ants with a kick. He more so muttered to himself, but Shizu could hear him. He turned back to her. Don't worry, I'll get him this time. He smiled and gave her a thumbs up. The blonde turned and also noticed the other 3. Hey! It's you guys! They looked confused. Naruto turned back into a slime for a few seconds. Remember me? He asked in a playful tone. Oh! It's that slime named Naruto we met when we were coming back from Dworgen, said Elin with her fingers on her chin. The other 2 made a face of recognition. Hey, it's good to see you again. Much easier to speak with someone when they're human, said Cable. Jido nodded his head in agreement. Good to see you guys too. We can catch up after I finish the bug, said Naruto. Shizu's face had a curious look on it. This man's aura screamed confidence, and was similar to dragons. Naruto smirked one last time at Shizu before turning towards the giant ant. Before I begin, I just want to say sorry, Shino, said Naruto. The others looked confused, but Naruto ignored them. Instead, his hands lighted up with a blue orb. You're lucky. I considered making the Chidori with black lightning, and that would have been much deadlier. Instead, I decided to make a better Chidori later on. You're also in luck that my control is worse, or else this would hurt a lot more, yelled Naruto as he ran towards the ant. As the Rasengan hit the ant's armor, it cracked and split open. He continued thrusting his hand forwards until it shot out the other side. A few seconds passed before the ant exploded, its blood splattering everywhere. Whoa, since when did it do that? I thought you said I had less control? Naruto asked Kurama mentally. Less control should have meant less impact. Like I had told you earlier, your chakra and magicules are now connected. Remember consuming that dragon? You're actually much stronger than I am, but you lack so much control that you're still a toddler in perspective, explained Kurama. Naruto nodded to himself in understanding, but his eyes shot open when he heard how powerful he was. Holy shit. I'm going to train for a few weeks when we get back, just you wait. I'm going to make you seem like the ant compared to me, exclaimed Naruto in a confident voice. Heh, I'll be waiting then, brat, Kurama before canceling the link, probably going back to sleep. Naruto looked towards his companions. The blood had splashed much farther than Naruto had thought. Shizu had the most blood on her because she was the closest, but her companions still had some on them. Haha. Sorry about guys. It wasn't my intent to make you all have to take baths, said Naruto apologetically. He scratched behind his head. Why don't you all come with me to my village? We may not have running water like humans, but river baths are great too, offered Naruto. That would be awesome, thanks, said Kobo. Typically, because I'm the party leader, I would decide this, but what do you guys think? Asked Kobo to his party members. Elin and Jaido nodded their heads in agreement. They looked toward Shizu, who was staring at Naruto. Is something wrong, Shizu? Inquired Kobo. Shizu shook her head. Sorry about that. Your magic aura surprised me. Are you a dragon, Naruto? She asked in a polite tone. Naruto seemed confused. Huh? Dragon? Usually, someone would notice Kurama's aura first. Naruto mumbled the last part to himself. Anyway, to answer your question. No, I'm not a dragon. But I consumed a dragon and made his magicules mine, at least that is what I think, stated Naruto. Kurama said it's because Veldora's essence, in general, gives off this aura, explained Naruto. Naruto shook his head in exasperation. Oh, by the way, here's your mask. He handed her the mask. Do you want some help up too? He asked while extending his hand. She nodded her head and grasped it. They're so rough, but smooth at the same time, thought Shizu as she went to stand. She was on her feet for a few seconds before falling slightly. Naruto caught her before she fell far. He put her arm around his shoulder. Need some help? He asked with a cheeky smile. Shizu nodded again, appreciating the help. When she finally focused on the aura around the man, it was exploding with power. The power was uncontrolled, unrefined. If he put in the time and effort, he could be one of the strongest beings in the world. I guess it could be worse. It feels like a dragon, and that includes the aura they produce for the ones they care about. He must attach to people quickly. Wonder why that is? As Shizu had her mental debate, her teammates and Naruto started to walk. Ranga jumped out of his shadow. Master, you've forgotten about the dwarves when you ran off after hearing someone scream. Would you like me to retrieve them? Asked Ranga. Naruto nodded. That would be great, thanks, said Naruto. Ranga bowed and ran off. Outside village. Ranga and the dwarves had caught up to Naruto and his little group 5 minutes from the village. They introduced each other and had continued on their way. Shizu had also regained enough strength to walk by herself, no longer needing Naruto's help. The guards saw Naruto and one ran to tell Rigard. Welcome back, Naruto-sama, said the goblin. If you follow me, I'll show you our progress and where Rigard-sama is, informed the goblin. How did you know it was me? I had a whole prank ready, depressingly said Naruto, a rain cloud covering his head. His companions slightly giggled at him. He stood up suddenly. Whatever, show me what you've done. stated the suddenly normal blonde. Is this normal? That's the fastest mood swing I've ever seen, thought Shizu with mirth. She shook her head and walked forward when she saw that the group was moving. While walking, the group saw goblins working together and building better structured houses. Eh? I thought you guys didn't know how to build houses. When did you learn that? Naruto asked the goblin leading them. Well, we didn't at first. In fact, this is maybe the 15th time we've attempted to build houses. You were gone for 3 weeks, Naruto-sama. Rigard-sama organized everyone to attempt to build houses while you were away, explained the goblin. Naruto nodded in understanding and continued to walk in silence. Goblin Lord Hut/House. Rigard-sama, Naruto-sama has returned, yelled the leading goblin when they walked in. The goblin bowed to Naruto's group and left. Rigard came around the corner after being called. Ah, Naruto-sama, it is good to have you back. There are some things I wanted to show you that we could change in the village, said Rigard. Naruto's face turned to confusion. Huh? Why are you asking for my approval? Questioned Naruto. Rigard looked equally as confused. Huh? Why? It's because you're the village leader. You defended us, and you said you'd take us under your care. Surely you want to be in charge, right? Explained Rigard. Naruto shook his head in exasperation. No thanks. I'm not meant to be a leader, and I never was. It was my dream as a kid, sure. But I know now that I would do a horrible job. Instead, I'll be this village's ANBU Black Ops, which basically means I'm going to be an assassin for the village. Explained Naruto. Sorry if that disappoints you, but I've seen too much darkness to be a light for the village, he said in a somber tone. The group behind him looked at him with pity, sad that their new friend went through something that affected him this much. Shizu looked at Naruto with understanding. She had a past that wasn't bright either. Pizu and Perino should have never died, she thought depressingly. She shook her head and went back to listening to the conversation. But are you sure, Naruto-sama? Everyone already thinks you're our leader in one way or another, started Rigard. Naruto shook his head and cut him off. Then stop those rumors, and make sure they listen. I'll name you the Goblin King, and there will be 4 lords underneath you. This will make the leadership easier and smoother. I don't want to lead a village anymore. That dream died when I realized I wasn't strong enough for the position, said Naruto. I should have been stronger and faster. Neji never should have died, thought an angry Naruto. I thought we already went over that Neji's death wasn't your fault. He chose that, and you crying about it is spitting on his wish. Now quit brooding and get back to talking, spoke a harsh, but realistic Kurama. Naruto spoke in agreement and looked back at Rigard. Anyway, my point is that I'm not going to be the village's leader. That will be your job like it has been for years, firmly stated Naruto. Rigard began to rebuttal, but Naruto glared at him. He nodded his head in defeat. If that is what you wish, Naruto-sama, said Rigard, I will go inform the village. I will also get 4 goblins I believe would be good lords, said Rigard as he walked away. Thank God I didn't want to lead a village. Hokage Gigi had so many wrinkles. I'd rather not look that way by the time I retire, thought Naruto. Anyways, let's go get you guys something to eat, said an excited Naruto. I wonder if they figured out how to make ramen here? He questioned as he walked away. The others followed. Huh, what a strange man. It's too bad I can't stay for longer, thought Shizu depressingly. Guess I'll enjoy it while it lasts. Shizu shook her head to clear her thoughts, and saw everyone was in front of her. Wait up! She yelled. I wish I could feel this happiness for just a while longer. Goblin Village. So, what do you guys do in your free time? We have about 5 hours until dinner is served, and wait, I can actually taste food now. Naruto's face lit up in realization. He turned to the group following him. It consisted of Shizu, Elin, and Gobta. Wait, do any of you know how to make ramen? Naruto asked in desperation. Don't get your hopes up. Who in this world would know? Started Kurama. I do, said Shizu. Would you like me to make some sometime? She asked nicely, but she had to jump back when Naruto was suddenly at her feet bowing. Oh, powerful and mighty Shizu-sama! Please let this peasant taste your ramen, declared Naruto passionately. Shizu laughed awkwardly, not used to such a passionate person. I'll do anything. Do you want me to massage your feet? Become your servant? I'll do anything, seriously, he begged. Shizu started to wave her hands to try and calm the blonde. Naruto-san dash. Just Naruto, or Naruto-kun, I only let the goblins add sama because it keeps them satisfied. Adding san makes me feel old, interrupted Naruto. Oh, alright. Naruto then. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. Consider the ramen as a gift to repay for saving me earlier, she said. If that's what you want, sure. By the way, what did happen? You seemed ready to kill the ant, but you stumbled for seemingly no reason. Can I know why? Asked Naruto innocently, uninformed of what Shizu contained. Shizu stiffened but answered anyway. I contain a spirit, a fire spirit specifically. He tries to escape my body often, but I have this mask to suppress him. She held up the mask. It masks my magical presence as well, she explained. Ah, I understand completely. I am, or was, in a similar situation. Would you like to hear my story? He asked. He didn't want pity, but he knows that growing up, he had wished that he had someone to share his pain with. Shizu nodded her head slowly, slightly surprised someone dealt with something similar to her. Great, well, I'll tell you after dinner. Right now, we're meant to be doing something fun. Any ideas? Asked Naruto, changing the subject. Gabra raised his hand, and Naruto pointed at him to go. Naruto-sama, I have an idea, spoke the smaller goblin. We can go picking berries in the forest. Rigard-sama likes to have fruits incorporated into everyone's meals. He says it gives the meat a better taste. Naruto nodded his head, agreeing with the idea. Sure, why not? I'm not opposed to the idea, said Shizu, and Elin agreed. Well, I don't, grumbled Kurama. I thought you were going to train to get all that power under control. It didn't make sense to Kurama. 1 second the brat wants to become the world's strongest, and the next, he's out picking berries. He would not have his container become a farmer. His power is to be used for destroying things, not growing wheat, and falling asleep in a rocking chair. I guess I could do that. Where do you suggest? I don't want anyone to see, enemy or ally, asked Naruto. Naruto trusted the village, yes, but who's to say they can't be bribed for info? Or tortured for it? He's a ninja for fuck's sake. It was his job to be cautious. Why not use the cave where Velodra was? It's out of the way, and most people wouldn't bother to check there. It made sense to Naruto, and he voiced his agreement to Kurama. He turned to tell his little group but saw they were already picking berries. He smiled and left without saying a word. Let's go get stronger then, thought Naruto, determined. Veldora's cave. I wonder if these plants have any significance, thought Naruto as he continued to where Veldora used to be. They may be useful in this world. Do you remember how to make storage seals? Spoke Kurama. Of course I do. How do you think I had those stones for the magic swords yesterday? Questioned the blonde out loud. Kurama was silent. I always knew you were a little dumb, said a satisfied Naruto. Shut it. At least I'm smarter than you. You didn't even check if you had access to chakra when we first arrived, argued the fox. PFFF, shut it, you fox. Let's get back to the reason we're even here, said Naruto. Kurama smirked in victory to himself. Well, let's go over what you can and can't do, reasoned Kurama. Naruto nodded to himself. Shadow clone jutsu. 200 clones appeared. He dispelled them once he decided 200 was his maximum. Rasengan! He got a small blue ball in his hand. Let's try Sage Mode. Naruto sat on the ground and began to gather nature energy, but what he didn't notice was that he was also gathering magicules. The cave had a thick layer of magicules in it still from when Veldora was there. Naruto continued gathering until orange rings went around his eyes, but he continued gathering unconsciously. The orange stayed, and so did his unique eyes. But around the orange rings, blue streaks began to appear, stretching into his hairline, eventually affecting his hair too. When Naruto opened his eyes, lightning could be seen flashing in them. Naruto walked over to a pool of water to get a better look at himself. Huh, that's new. He stated the obvious. I also feel stronger. Do you have an explanation, Kurama? Asked Naruto. Kurama hummed before answering. Well, my best guess would be that Veldora and the Magicules affected your Sage mode, guessed Kurama. It seems that the dragon is affecting you more and more. Any negative effects? Asked Naruto. Kurama was silent for a few seconds before answering. Nothing serious, just your insides being corroded from the Magicules. Spoke Kurama casually. Oh, okay, wait, what? He screamed out. Kurama grumbled about him being too loud. I thought I said it was nothing serious? You heal fast enough to be affected anyway, spoke Kurama casually. Why it's happening is because you have to separate your natural energy and the Magicules. They don't mix well, he explained. Seriously though, there was no need to be worried. Your healing is insane, he added at the end. Huh, I guess I do have pretty good regeneration. I mean fuck, I regrew a lung. Naruto walked backward, still facing the lake. Now let's see how much control I need to retrain myself. Naruto put his hand out and started to focus on using the Rasengan. A small ball formed in the middle of his hand. He tried focusing harder to make the Rasen Shuriken. Damn, all I can get is this pathetic orb. It's worse than I thought, realized Naruto. Well, what did you expect? It's similar to when you were a genin. The only difference is that you now have 1000 extra reserves, explained Kurama. Naruto hummed in thought. What was the best control method back home? Asked Naruto. It would be your Rasengan, dumbass, Kurama's sweat dropped. Oh haha, I knew that, alright. Let's get started. Shadow Clone Jutsu, yelled Naruto. 25 duplicates of Naruto popped up around him. Alright, I want all of you to work on getting the Rasengan back to what we had before, but don't worry about Rasen Shuriken for right now, ordered Naruto. Got it, boss, chorused Naruto's clones. They spread themselves out throughout the cave, attempting to give themselves more room to work. Maybe we should have found a bigger cave, mumbled Naruto in his mind. Well, if you know any other ones, I'm open to hearing you out, Kurama snarky replied. Piss off, replied Naruto. He turned away from the clones and looked back at the pool of water. Anything you think we should try, Kurama? Asked Naruto. You did say you wanted to make an improved Chidori. How about work on that? You can get some chakra control exercise at the same time too, Kurama suggested. Heh, that was more of a bluff to try to look cooler. Naruto scratched behind his head, embarrassed. Trying to show off for the human girl you called pretty? Is my host finally understanding women? Teased Kurama. What? Screamed Naruto suddenly. What gave you that idea? He asked angrily. Plus, I understand women. There was silence. Naruto, I've heard a lot of bullshit in my life, especially from you. I have to tell you though. You are one of the densest humans I have ever seen. Do you know Hinata liked you? I would say she fucking loved you, said Kurama. She what? Asked Naruto, suddenly calm. Quit spilling bullshit. Why would Hinata like me anyway? I'm not that great, spoke Naruto softly. Oh, quit it with the self-deprecating shit. You know you're better than that, reassured Kurama. Yeah? Well, who do you think made me think that way? In case you don't remember, the villagers weren't exactly encouraging me to think higher of myself, said Naruto. Kurama was silent, thinking it over but not saying anything. Look, Naruto dash. Don't. That was my fault. It wasn't my intention to start an argument. Let's just get back to work, okay? Naruto asked, but Kurama could hear he was begging for him to drop it. Yeah, okay, Kurama said. I still need to get someone to fix him. His mental state isn't exactly the healthiest, Kurama thought to himself, so Naruto couldn't hear him. So what are you going to try now, brat? I know for a fact that the Chidori will be more powerful, but I don't know how Kakashi-sensei made it, said Naruto. He hummed to himself and thought about it. Though I do think I remember him saying something about creating Chidori when he was trying to add lightning to the Rasengan, remembered Naruto. What do you think he tried doing to create the Chidori? Kurama hummed and was silent for a few seconds. I would guess that he attempted to control the pure lightning instead of adding lightning to the Rasengan, guessed Kurama. So, I should probably learn to control regular lightning before trying to add black lightning, huh? Figured Naruto. Alright, warn me if I start to die. He asked Kurama. Maybe, he replied. Damn fox. Grumbled Naruto. Well, here goes nothing. Naruto closed his eyes and tried to use a lightning jutsu. Naruto started using the most basic lightning jutsu he knew, static string technique. It creates string-like forms of lightning that the user can control. Naruto started messing around with it, attempting to get the best control of it. He would use it as a whip against the water or use it as a lasso to grab rocks around him. 4.5 hours later. Naruto was sitting on the floor, breathing hard. His clones had all dispelled it but had forgotten to make them dispel in intervals. Other than being assaulted with info, Naruto was glad he had gone to the cave. His control with lightning was good enough to act as his third best element, behind water and wind. To compare them wouldn't be fair. He was still much more proficient with wind and water. Good job, brat, you have similar control to the time after being with that pervert, semi-congratulated Kurama. Naruto would take what he could. Yeah, it feels great to have this control back. I feel like I could spam Rasengans for a couple of hours in a row now, spoke Naruto. He took one last breath before standing up quickly. Well, time to get back home. I wonder if they noticed I ever left? He asked his tenant. With the amount of dedication they have, I wouldn't be surprised if the entire village is searching for you, answered Kurama. Naruto's sweat dropped. I can't deny that accusation, he thought, slightly worried. Surely it couldn't be that bad? Thanks for jinxing us, you idiot, Kurama face-bombed. Let's just get going, spoke Naruto as he started walking out of the cave to go home. Back at the village. So, how would we explain this to Naruto-sama? Asked Rigard. He and the goblins were standing on a hill overviewing the now burning village. The adventurers, minus Shizu for obvious reasons, were fighting a fire spirit, Ifrit specifically. What would we even have to explain? That human came into our village and destroyed everything. It's their fault, we'll need to rebuild again, spoke a goblin. Several around them agreed. I don't believe they intended to release Ifrit on us. The human girl looked to be in great pain before Ifrit appeared. Rigard tried defusing the situation. That doesn't change the fact that they destroyed our village, the goblin argued back. Rigard suddenly became very serious and came up to the goblin, face to face. Are you questioning the judgment of your king? I said we leave them alone until Naruto-sama returns to the village, and that's final, he declared. The goblin stepped back and tried making himself small. That's what I thought. Now, stand here and pray that the adventurers can stop Ifrit. With Elin, Jido, and Cable. I don't think this is something of our level, yelled Cable as he and Jido protected Elin as she fired ice at Ifrit's clones. Well, it's not like we can just abandon Shizu. She's a part of our group now, and we won't abandon her, yelled back Elin. I know that. But it doesn't make fighting a spirit any less terrifying, said Cable as they moved to dodge a fireball. Plus, what can we do? We're about 100x too weak to do any permanent damage, he argued. Just shut up and keep trying to find an opening, finally spoke Jido. They moved again to dodge a fireball but didn't see one of Ifrit's minions behind them. The creature created a fireball and fired it at their backside. Ranga! Called a voice from the side. Ranga charged into the group to get them out of the way. Oh! What the hello, it's Naruto! Cable spoke first. What was that for? He yelled after he figured out who pushed him. Naruto's sweat dropped. That was so you didn't die, dumbass, answered Naruto. Anyways, what's the situation? He asked. The three adventurers looked hesitant to answer. About that. The fire spirit in Shizu had gotten out and started destroying the village. We had sent the goblins to a hill to get out of the way as we tried to subdue him. It didn't work very well, explained Cable. Naruto laughed inside his head at the irony. Damn, I'm blaming you for this one fur ball, said Naruto in his head. Kurama responded, but Naruto ignored that. Are there any weaknesses? He questioned. He seems to be more vulnerable to ice, answered Elin from behind. Naruto nodded his head in understanding. Well, I guess we're screwed, spoke Naruto. The other three screamed in shock, questioning him. How the fuck am I supposed to do anything if his only real weakness is ice? I'm not Haku. I can't go throwing around ice jutsus like it's nothing, explained Naruto. Unless, let me ask Kurama something. Naruto sat down and entered his mindscape. Mindscape. Oh, Kurama! I have a question, he yelled at the sleeping beast. What is it, brat? He wasn't paying attention. Sleeping was much more enjoyable. If I were to use Apex Predator on Ifrit, would it consume Shizu too? He asked. In theory, no. You would essentially be taking away a life force from her, though. I believe that she and that Ifrit are similar to you and me, connected. I could be wrong. Ifrit could just be his own separate entity that leeches off the woman, Kurama explained. Naruto adopted a thinking pose. I guess we'll just have to gamble with this one, decided Naruto. Kurama looked surprised. What? Nothing. I'm surprised you're that willing to gamble with someone else's life, explained the fox. Well, don't get me wrong, Shizu is important, but I can't risk the entire village. I'm not naive anymore where I can't see the bigger picture, answered Naruto. Kurama slightly chuckled. Hey, good to see you've matured a bit, Naruto, said Kurama. Naruto smiled at him and left the mindscape. Back outside. Okay. I have an idea, but I need to tell you all something, spoke Naruto. The three adventurers looked at him to continue. I have a way to defeat Ifrit. They looked up in excitement but noticed Naruto didn't look as excited. The only problem is that Shizu may not make it, he finished. There was silence. What do you mean Shizu may not make it? Asked Elin quietly. Naruto looked at her. Elin looked like someone said they stabbed her mother. Naruto walked over to her and wanted to comfort her, but he didn't. Instead, he put his hands on her shoulders and looked right into her eyes. Elin, I will try my goddamn hardest to make sure she comes back to us, but I can't guarantee anything, spoke Naruto quietly. The other guys looked pained too, but Elin looked like she needed the comforting words. Naruto spoke again. I'm going to go defeat Ifrit now, okay? Elin nodded hesitantly. I hope we can all be friends after this. He spoke before turning towards Ifrit. Now, how should I go about doing this? Wondered Naruto. Kurama answered for him. Just mentally say, Apex Predator. You just have to aim where you want to go, answered Kurama. Got it. Naruto walked up to Ifrit and tried getting his attention. You overgrown candlestick! He yelled. Hey, no one said he was any good at insults. Ifrit looked at him with a monotone face, underestimating Naruto. He allowed Naruto to get a couple of feet in front of him before attacking. He sent a wall of fire at Naruto. Naruto ignored the flames and charged into him. Apex Predator! He screamed in his mind with determination. Naruto's body changed from his human form to a giant wave of yellow. Ifrit tried backing out of the tidal wave, but Naruto was quicker. Swiftly Naruto surrounded Ifrit and shrunk down the size. The adventurers had looked in anticipation to see if Shizu survived or not. Naruto shrunk down to the size of a human before seemingly spitting out a body. He quickly changed into his human form and put his hand against Shizu's neck. The group of adventurers came over with the goblins following from behind. Will she be okay, Naruto? Asked Elin. She was the first to make it to Naruto and Shizu. Naruto looked hesitant to answer. She's alive, but not for long. Kurama was right. She'll only live for another 12 hours unless we do something, answered Naruto. Is there anything we can do? She asked. Everyone else finally arrived. I don't know, he stated somberly. If only I had Sage of Six Paths mode still, then we wouldn't have to worry about this shit. Everyone looked confused at what he was talking about, but Naruto ignored them and went to talk to Kurama. Mindscape. Is there anything we can do? He asked Kurama desperately. He may have accepted that she might die from being absorbed, but she has a chance now, and he wouldn't waste it. Kurama hummed to himself before answering. Well, we could try healing her with nature energy, answered Kurama. There could be some unforeseen issues, though, he supplied. Like what? Asked Naruto. Well, it could poison her instead of helping. However, that's the only lethal concern. The other changes could be to her body itself. For example, since you are technically filtering some of my chakra into her at the same time, she may get some more beast-like attributes, explained Kurama. So, she would grow a tail? Questioned Naruto. And fox ears? That's kind of cute, but I don't know if she would appreciate it. Is there any way you could specifically change something that wouldn't be adding new limbs? I guess I could try to. The best I could do would be whisker marks on her cheeks, answered Kurama. That should be fine. I'll deal with any anger she may have later on. Make sure you're ready, Kurama. I'll go into sage mode after I leave the mindscape, said Naruto. Kurama nodded in confirmation that he was ready. Outside. We have a solution. The only problem is that Shizu may be a little different when she is all better. Is that okay with you guys? He asked. They looked at each other before looking at Naruto. Just make sure she comes back to us, Naruto, answered Elin with Jido and Cable nodding behind her. Got it. Well, here goes nothing. Naruto made 5 clones and had them sit around him to collect nature energy. Pigments came around their eyes. The blue streaks from earlier started forming but didn't make it to his hair this time. 5 minutes passed before Naruto dispelled his clones and got all the nature energy. When they dispelled, the blue streaks shot into Naruto's hair, and the lightning gained more intensity. Naruto sat next to Shizu and placed his hand onto her stomach, slowly pumping the nature energy to try and save her. The energy could see underneath her skin and flow towards her heart. Naruto continued to give her nature energy for another 10 minutes before he stopped. It was silent as the events of the day settled in everyone's head. She should be fine now. Rigard, let's get started on rebuilding. She'll need somewhere proper to rest, spoke Naruto eventually. Everyone nodded and the goblins walked away. Jido and Cable went to go give their assistance while Elin stayed with Naruto and Shizu. Is there anything you can see that changed, Naruto? Asked Elin. Yeah, look at her cheeks. She gained whisker marks, answered Naruto tiredly. Elin moved closer to Shizu's face. Ah, they look so cute. But wait, these look like… She looked back at Naruto. Why does she have similar marks to you? She asked. Now. That wouldn't be fair to everyone else. I had said earlier that I would explain after dinner, did I not? Answered Naruto, amused when Elin started pouting. Puppy eyes jutsu won't work on me. I already had a pseudo-younger brother that tried that back in the day. He spoke. Hey! I can't be compared to a younger sibling. I'm obviously older than you, she yelled at him. Naruto just laughed. Sure. Whatever you say, answered Naruto. Elin lost her angry look and smiled at Naruto. Thank you for saving her, she said genuinely. Anytime. Chapter end. Tired of watching censored fanfics? Would you like to watch some very naughty, filled with the lemons fanfics without any censorship? I'm happy to announce that I opened Patreon page for you guys, where you could watch Naruto/Deku, 18+ stories without any censoring. Not only that, you can also see the NSFW images of characters of the fics on my Patreon, which I make by myself. So buy your preferred tier and join our community now. Link is in the description.